So we're looking at how to write the equation of a line, and we're going to be writing our equations for now in slope-intercept form. So as a reminder, that's y equals mx plus b. And if you remember, m is for mountains, and mountains have slopes. And then the b is actually the y-intercept, which is where the line crosses the y-axis. So the numbers that I need to fill in to y equals mx plus b, to get my final answer, I need to know the slope, and I need to know the y-intercept. So for example, if I solved and I found that the slope was 5 and the y-intercept was -3, my final equation would just be y equals 5x minus 3. We were able to, from graphs, just count the slope off of the graph and look at the graph and find the y-intercept, but sometimes we don't have graphs to begin with. So we're going to start now with just if I know the slope and a point. Notice this part that's in bold and underlined and about as large as I can make it. I would highly encourage you to start your final equation as soon as you know your slope. So I know my slope, which means I'm going to start my answer. Y equals -2x. Now I don't know yet what's going to be filled in here because I don't know the y-intercept, but I know my equation is going to be y equals -2x with something behind it. The problem is if I don't start my equation, it's very easy to get so happy when you find the y-intercept that you circle that as your final answer and forget to actually write the equation. Or there are people who put numbers in their final answer in place of y and x and forget the final actual equation has both y and x in it most of the time. So if I know that y equals mx plus b, I know the slope of this line is -2, so I can substitute that for m. I don't know, and I can't just tell by looking at this what the y-intercept is going to be. So the variable that I need to leave in this equation is b for the y-intercept. It's the thing I'm trying to find. In this specific case, we have an x and a y that are on this line. Since y is -8, I can substitute -8 in place of the y, as long as at the same time I substitute 4 for the x, because at that point x is 4 and y is -8. At this point, -8 equals, solve this equation, -2 times 4 is -8, plus b. Then to solve the equation, to get the b by itself, I'd add 8 to both sides of the equation, and I'd have b equals 0. Now, I could say, well, then y equals -2x plus 0, but that is just going to simplify to y equals -2x. So in this case, I didn't actually have to add anything out to the side. The second equation, though, again going back to my y equals mx plus b, inside the ordered pair, x comes before y. I'm going to start my equation, y equals, for my answer, -3/4 x, and then I'm just going to go look for my y-intercept. So when y is 4, I know the slope of this line is -3/4. The x when y is 4 is -16. Bring down my plus b. To solve this, -3/4 times -16, again you can put this in your calculator, negative times a negative is a positive, and then it's going to end up being positive 12, because 3/4 of 16 is 12. Bring down my plus b. I would subtract 12 from both sides to solve for b, and when I do that I get b equals -8. Now it might be tempting to write y equals -3/4 x plus a -8, but remember that is not a simplified answer, so don't give that as a final answer. It's really just y equals -3/4 x minus 8 for my final answer. So I go back to my y equals mx plus b. I know that my slope is -6, so my final answer is going to be y equals -6x to begin with. So my slope is -6. Inside my ordered pair, I have an x and a y. So -18 equals -6 times 3 plus b. So -18 equals -18 plus b, which means when I add 18 to both sides, and this doesn't happen all the time, it happens sometimes, as you can see, I get that the y-intercept is once again 0. So I'm not going to write a plus 0 out here. I'm just going to say y equals -6x. And again, if y equals mx plus b, I know my final equation is going to have a y equals 2/3 x in it. Inside the ordered pair here, y is 9. And of course, my slope is 2/3 that I didn't write down yet. And inside that ordered pair, x is 15. Bring down my plus b. So 9 equals 10, which is 2/3 times 15 plus b. To solve for b, I'm going to subtract 10 from both sides of the equation and get -1 equals b. Remember, I'm not going to write plus a -1. I'm just going to write -1. So go ahead and practice those on your worksheet.